So how can you get financial advice that's actually in your best interest, not the interest of somebody who's trying to give you that advice? That's what I want to talk about today. So what's the best way to get financial advice that's actually in your best interest? It's going to help you out and get you a leg up rather than the person that's trying to give it to you. Because the truth is, believe it or not, there's people that actually have their own self-interest rather than yours. I know this is a shock, but there are people doing that. You're probably watching this video thinking, maybe Chris is that guy. Maybe this Money Ripples thing is all a bunch of crap. Hey, good question to ask. Well, let's talk about how you can know the difference between good advice versus bad advice and what can actually be in your best interest and how to see through some of the other people's self-interest, even based on my own experience. All right, so let's talk about this self-interest because there are a lot of people giving financial advice today and it's everywhere. It's rampant, right? You can turn on social media, you turn on the news, like TV media, right? You open up articles and there's always people that've got their own opinion, their own 2 cents about what you should be doing with finances, right? This could be even with investing, this could be with whether you pay off debt or not, this could be even like what kind of investments you buy, even with budgeting and everything else. Everybody's got their opinion. Now, how do you know which one's in your best interest? Well, let me talk about what my experience was as a financial advisor, because I actually had done that for 4 years. I actually been in the financial industry for 23. So this is back in the early 2000s. I became a financial advisor right after 9/11. Now, as a financial advisor, I was going into that because I wanted to learn about money for myself. Now, I know that seems kind of funny because you think, well, shouldn't you be the one that already knows about money before you give me advice? Believe it or not, financial advisors are not actually trained to be wealthy. I know this is a shock. They're actually not even trained on how to actually create wealth for themselves. They're trained to sell you financial plans. And these financial plans include financial products, things like insurance products and mutual funds of various sorts and different types of vehicles. Mostly this traditional stuff you've heard about, right? Whether it be IRAs, Roth IRAs, annuities, even 401k plans and things like that, and on and on and on, and even insurance type of plans as well. And just so you know, if you get somebody who's a licensed professional, specifically if they're licensed like with a Series 6, 63 insurance licenses and whatnot, naturally they're gonna have their own self-interest. They're gonna come at you with where everything looks like a nail to them, right? They're gonna come after you with saying, this is what you should do. And I know this firsthand because I remember going to my brother-in-law, and now he came from a very wealthy family. His dad was a self-made millionaire by the age of 21. Although he was homeless as a teenager, was able to come out of that and became a millionaire at age 21. This is back in the 1960s when being a millionaire meant a lot more than it does today. Well, anyways, long story short, his dad was very successful. I knew that if I could get in with my brother-in-law's family, I could get in, well, I could get in with my brother-in-law, I could get in with the rest of his family. So I remember I prepared really, really well. I mean, I prepared for hours just to have this one meeting with my brother-in-law. I made sure I wore my best suit. I brought the best guy from my office to back me up, just to make sure that we could double team him. Now, as I got to that point where I'm talking to him about everything and how mutual funds work, because I'm teaching him how money really works, right? Even though I got a lot less money than he has, and he knew it. He then asked me, he said, well, Chris, let me get this straight. Let's just say I give you $10,000 to play with today. You're saying you can make me 12% return on that money, right? I said, well, I can't promise 12% rate of return, but that's what I've been taught by everybody else that you actually get in the stock market, which isn't true, by the way. But yeah, you can make 12% possibly. He's like, okay, let's just go with that, Chris. Let's just say I make 12% or 1,200 bucks from that 10 grand in a year. But Chris, I could take that same 10 grand, I could put a down payment in my business, buy and sell property to where I can make a $20,000 profit in just a few months. So $20,000 in a few months versus $1,200 a year, maybe with you. Why would I invest with you? And my answer that came out of my mouth was just traditional conditioning from financial advisors training me. Well, you should be diversified. You shouldn't put all your eggs in one basket. You should actually put your money here because that's where I get paid. Now, really, if this were like a movie of Liar Liar, like with Jim Carrey, where he couldn't tell a lie for 24 hours, what I would have said was, you got to invest with me because that's how I get paid. And I don't get paid unless you actually put your money in mutual fund investments. And that's it. And that was the reality. So I was telling him that very thing is that, no, you should be diversified. You should put money with me. But the truth is, he had a great point. He would make more money investing in his business than he ever would with me as a financial advisor. Now, should he be diversified? Sure, of course. But that didn't matter, did it? Because my self-interest said, you should put your money here. Now, if he would have said, what if I go put my money with Merrill Lynch? What do you think I would have said? Well, you could, but honestly, I offer all the same things Merrill Lynch and I do it better. And I'm your brother-in-law. You should do it with me, right? That's the problem. So when you get financial advice from financial advisors and planners, the problem is that, again, to them, if they're a hammer, everything looks like a nail. They're going to try to sell you the things that they offer, that they are legally licensed to sell you. Remember, a license with a financial advisor is a license to sell, not a license to make you more money. And in fact, that's the one problem I see in the financial advising world, is that the one person that is guaranteed to always be paid on your investments is not you, it's them. Whether you make money or not, they always get paid. That's why they have assets under management, or AUM as they call it. Assets under management is where they have your money and as many assets they get, and then they get that percentage of the total assets they have that they're managing. And by the way, most of the time, they're not even managing it. They're just putting you in different funds based on risk profiles, and then they get paid. Now, there are some that do get a little bit more boutique with it, but even then, a lot of times they don't even do that good. They don't even do that well when it comes to performance. So be aware of that. Now, what about fee-based planners? Now, these guys aren't just commission only. Like, I was talking about here before, like I was as a financial advisor. I was based on money you invest with me. Well, what about fee-based planners, where they charge you a fee and then you go invest however you want, but they're going to tell you how to do it? Now, I think that's better, but remember, once again, depending on their training, what they've been taught to teach you will be what they pass along that information to you. Remember this, financial advisors are always trained by financial institutions. And even if they say, no, I'm independent, we talk with other financial advisors. Well, where does all that information come from? It's coming from other financial companies saying, here's the training, we're gonna offer the training, here are the products, here are the things you can invest in, here are the different strategies you can do, all sponsored by the companies trying to sell those things ultimately through them to you. And as a result, it's still hard to trust their advice. Now, I think it's better. I do like the fact that when you do a fee-based approach, at least that you say you get paid from the client directly, you work for the client, and then you're gonna send them wherever. But also remember this, is that their perspective is based on what's introduced to them in their world. I'll tell you, even though I know some great fee-based planners, most of them would not tell you to go put money in real estate. They might say, sure, have a little real estate, but they're gonna pull out their little charts, like I used to do. They'll pull out their little charts and tell you, yeah, but since 1928, look, you would have more money in the stock market than you will in real estate. So if you wanna diversify, do a little real estate, but put most of it over here still. Still put it in the stock market, because that's where it's best. But is it? Because I'll tell you, there's a lot more accidental millionaires in real estate than there ever is in the stock market. A lot more, because real estate has performed better over the years. That's been proven. Now, you might be wondering, well, Chris, what's your self-interest, right? Well, I'll tell you, like right now, I don't have those securities licenses anymore. I do have a life insurance license, yes, because we do consult on that as well. But I'll tell you what, first and foremost, I'm an investor and a business owner. My perspective comes from that, because remember, I came from that world. I was a financial advisor, realized it was a bunch of crap when I couldn't even help my own father retire, and he did everything right. When I realized he couldn't retire, and neither were these other clients that had decades of financial advice from other financial advisors, I realized it was a problem. And so what I went to go do real estate investing. And in 2006, I was able to retire the first time. I say the first time because 2007 and 2008 weren't so friendly to real estate investors, were they? Not to mention, I was cashing all my chips into starting a new company with some partners, and that was not doing well, especially when we were focusing on real estate investors. So as a result, I went from millionaire to upside down millionaire in 2008, had to dig out of that hole, eventually did that where I was able to retire the second time in 2016, this time much smarter, doing real estate differently. I wasn't actively investing in real estate, I was a passive investor, but I was much more patient and wise with how I invested my money. And that's what I've been teaching people to do. Now, yes, we get paid fees. Like we have a one-on-one consulting we do with our clients and we get paid fees. But I have people pay us fees because I also do not get paid returns or fees from the people that our people will invest with. I will tell you, there have been several investment operators, people in the real estate game that say, listen, if you send us clients, we'll pay you money. Now, especially if they offer investments, I don't do that. Now, I could get a license that allow me to do that, but I don't want to cross that line because I don't want people to question what my motives are. I want the client to pay me, and only are we getting paid from that, and then we can be a little bit more unbiased in how we talk about strategies and whatnot. And by the way, we don't ever give investment advice, but we do help them understand where's the best way to put their money, where's the best places. And why am I doing it this way? Because I want to stay apart from that. I want to stay away from the influences, even if it's subconscious, that says, well, I get paid for this, so I better refer them all here. No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to create that confusion to where you question my own integrity or our coach's integrity. So that's why we designed it that way. And the great thing is now we have the whole gamut because again, we're not investment advisors, so we're not stuck to do certain things. We're just telling people, look, there's a variety of options, even outside of our own network of people that we have, investment operators that I use personally even to invest in or other people do. Hey, there's other options too. But we're gonna give honest opinions about, hey, here's some pros and cons with what you're looking at or what you're looking to do. So that's the way I found kind of as a good way to keep that self-interest out of it so it keeps your best interest still in it. Now you might say, yeah, but Chris, I see a lot of these infinite banking videos. I'm guessing your life insurance license? Absolutely right. I'll tell you this much though, we only brought it in-house because I couldn't find anybody, including some of my own best friends, that would do it the way that I would do it for myself and my own family, let alone my own clients. And so for that reason, we said, all right, if we can't find somebody to do it well, we're gonna take it in-house and do it ourselves. And so yeah, we started to do it because we couldn't find somebody to consistently do it for us. And yeah, so we make money on that, but you'll hear, if you're on this channel all the time, I will tell you constantly that the way to financial freedom is not by buying a life insurance product. It's nice, it throws a little extra gasoline on the fire if you want to get there a little bit quicker, but the real power is how you do passive investments. We don't get paid on that. We get paid from our clients paying us a consulting fee to help them understand and be educated and trained and know what to do in certain situations. That's what we do. But again, the insurance is just really gravy for us. That's not the main focus. But it has helped literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of our clients to do that kind of strategy, and they're grateful for it. And we're grateful to be able to offer that too. Just understand that everybody has a bias. The question you have to ask yourself is, where is that bias coming from? Is it coming from how they're getting paid? Just like pharmaceutical companies, right? Why they think you should always have drugs in your system? Or is it based on what's actually in your best interest? So here's what I challenge you to do. If you want to figure out what advice is good and what's not, obviously it's good also if you have advice that's always worked. It's worked not just for the person that's teaching it, hopefully it's worked for them at least, but also for people that are coaching as well. Hey, if you're interested in learning more about that, go to moneyripples.com. There's lots more information and even more ways of learning about passive investments and infinite banking, things like that. Feel free to peruse and just kind of check it out and really just see what kind of things you can glean and you can pick off that as well. So go to moneyripples.com for more information today.